Vatican News YouTube channel recently posted a video of Pope Francis inviting world leaders to Rome to sign a global pact on May 14th, 2020. The Pope's invitation has implications that relate to end-time Bible prophecy, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. But before I do, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And don't forget to enable notifications in your YouTube app on your mobile device as well. I upload new videos every Thursday and do Q&A live streams every Sunday. Now let's take a look at some of the clips of Pope Francis's invitation.
Carissimi, nell'enciclica Laudato Si ho invitato tutti a collaborare per custodire la nostra casa comune.
Pope Francis wastes no time in referring to Laudato Si, which is his encyclical on climate change. There, he offers some suggestions on how to combat climate change, including reducing carbon emissions, carpooling, planting trees, and recycling, to name a few. Now, those are not bad suggestions, but in his encyclical, Pope Francis also connects Sunday keeping with a better environment. Page 237 reads, "On Sunday, our participation in the Eucharist has special importance. Sunday, like the Jewish Sabbath, is meant to be a day which heals our relationships with God, with ourselves, with others, and with the world." A few sentences down, speaking about the seventh-day Sabbath, which the Pope calls the Jewish Sabbath, even though the Bible never calls it that, the Pope wrote, "The law of weekly rest forbade work on the seventh day, so that your ox and your donkey may have rest, and the son of your maidservant and the stranger may be refreshed." The implication here is that we need to have a law mandating rest on Sunday, like there was a law mandating rest on the seventh day of the week for the Jews. So it appears that Pope Francis's agenda on climate change includes getting Sunday rest and worship mandated by law because he thinks it will improve the environment. And this shouldn't be a surprise because the Catechism of the Catholic Church tells us that this is a goal of the Church. Paragraph number 2188 states, "In respecting religious liberty and the common good of all, Christians should seek recognition of Sundays and the Church's holy days as legal holidays." Now this is prophetic because the book of Revelation tells us that false worship will be enforced in the future, and those who accept it will receive the mark of the beast. Chapter 13 verses 11 through 12 and 16 through 17 tell us, "Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercised all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Make no mistake about it, in the future, false worship will be enforced in the form of an international Sunday law, and those who accept it will receive the mark of the beast. Let's continue with the Pope's video invitation.
Serve un patto educativo globale che ci educhi alla solidarietà universale, a un nuovo umanesimo.
A compact is a written agreement that binds you to what you've promised. This compact will include a new universal solidarity, which basically means uniting everyone. A major theme of Pope Francis's mission has been unity. Everywhere he goes, he attempts to unite religions and people to combat problems in society, like extremism, poverty, and climate change. And Pope Francis also mentioned that his compact will be aimed at a new humanism. What is humanism, you may be asking? Google defines humanism as a rationalistic outlook or a system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or supernatural matters. So humanism is focused more on people than God. It sounds kind of odd for a religious leader to be endorsing that. And the only reason I could think of for Pope Francis trying to unite people towards a new humanism is because that appeal is attractive to everyone. No matter who you are, atheist, Christian, Muslim, Jew, or whatever, all of us want to live a better life. And the people who Pope Francis reaches out to in this video, which you will see shortly, includes world leaders and everyday people. And these people come from different walks of life with different worldviews and religious beliefs. So if Pope Francis was to tell them that they need to submit to the will of the Christian God or something like that, that would lead to some conflicts. So uniting people towards a new humanism has a broader appeal.
Per questo ho promosso un evento mondiale che si terrà il 14 maggio del 2020.
Pope Francis just gave us the date for his compact. Now he's going to tell us more about his agenda.
In un momento di estrema frammentazione, di estrema contrapposizione, c'è bisogno di unire gli sforzi, di far nascere un'alleanza educativa per formare persone mature, capaci di vivere nella società e per la società.
What Pope Francis means by a time of great fragmentation and extreme confrontation is that we are living in a time of great division. And we need to unite and educate people about how to care for our common home to avert the danger of climate change.
Ogni cambiamento però ha bisogno di un cammino educativo. Noi non possiamo fare un cambiamento senza educare a quel cambiamento.
Pope Francis says that we need an educational process that will create change. In other words, a system of education that will teach people how to think and live according to his agenda.
Un proverbio africano recita che per educare un bambino serve un intero villaggio, ma dobbiamo costruirlo, questo villaggio, tutti insieme, per educare I bambini, per educare il futuro.
The village that Pope Francis is talking about is the world. We are a global village, and we need to educate our children to build a better future.
E dobbiamo modificare il terreno delle discriminazioni, come ho sostenuto nel documento che ho recentemente sottoscritto col grande imam di Al-Azhar ad Abu Dhabi.
The Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, whose name is Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb, is basically the leader of the Sunni Muslims. Sunni is the largest denomination of Islam, followed by up to 90% of the world's Muslims. And in February of 2019, Pope Francis visited Abu Dhabi in Saudi Arabia to meet with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar. This was an unprecedented trip for the Pope because it was the first time in history that a Pope visited Saudi Arabia, and Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar signed a historic declaration of fraternity, calling for peace between nations, religions, and races in front of a global audience of religious leaders from Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and other faiths. The document pledges that Al-Azhar and the Vatican will work together to fight extremism. Now, since Pope Francis was successful in getting the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar to sign a peace agreement with him, it looks like he is using that fact to increase his credibility to broker a global pact to save the world from the consequences of climate change.
Dobbiamo fare in modo che questo villaggio faccia crescere in tutti la consapevolezza di ciò che unisce le persone e tutte le componenti della persona, lo studio e la vita, le generazioni, I docenti e gli studenti, la famiglia e la società civile, con le sue espressioni politiche, produttive, imprenditoriali e solidali.
Here Pope Francis is appealing to people from all aspects of life, from teachers, students, intellectuals, businessmen, politicians, and so on, to be aware of the danger of climate change and to unite to combat this social injustice. In other words, this is a disaster that affects us all, so we need to unite to combat it.
Dobbiamo fare in modo che in questo villaggio nasca una convergenza globale per un'alleanza tra gli abitanti della terra e la casa comune, affinché l'educazione sia creatrice di pace, di giustizia, sia accoglienza tra tutti i popoli della famiglia umana, nonché di dialogo tra le loro religioni.
Again, everybody needs to unite to combat climate change. All the people of the world and all of the religions too. You know, some of the things that Pope Francis is saying sound like they're coming right out of the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation describes a religious polarization that takes place in the end times. People will be divided into two camps, those who receive the mark of the beast and those who receive the seal of God. Those who receive the mark of the beast, like I mentioned earlier, are those who are going to go along with Sunday rest and worship laws, while those who receive the seal of God will decide to stay true to God's commandments and keep the seventh-day Sabbath holy, which is on Saturday, not Sunday. Saturday is the true Bible Sabbath. The fourth commandment tells us to keep the Sabbath holy on the seventh day of the week. Exodus chapter 20 verses 8 through 10 states, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no work." However, the Catholic Church, by its own admission, changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. In the Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, we read, Question: Which is the Sabbath day? Answer: Saturday is the Sabbath day. Question: Why do we observe Sunday instead of Saturday? Answer: We observe Sunday instead of Saturday because the Catholic Church and the Council of Laodicea, AD 336, transferred the solemnity from Saturday to Sunday. Now, no man has the right to change God's commandments. Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 2 tells us, "You shall not add to the word which I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you." Furthermore, the Roman Catholic Church claims the Sunday Sabbath as a mark of her authority. The Catholic Record of London states, "Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact." So in convincing people to honor Sunday as the Sabbath, which is a part of Pope Francis's agenda for climate change, people will be submitting themselves to the authority of the Catholic Church. And this is actually part of Pope Francis's job description. Pope Francis is a Jesuit, and if you know anything about the history of the Jesuits, this is all in line with their mission. A webpage from history.com entitled Jesuit Order Established explains, "The Jesuit order played an important role in the Counter-Reformation and eventually succeeded in converting millions around the world to Catholicism. The Counter-Reformation was the Catholic Church's answer to the Protestant Reformation, which weakened the Church by causing many Roman Catholics to abandon the faith and become Protestants after discovering how corrupt the Church was and how unbiblical its teachings are. So the Jesuits were commissioned to win converts back to the faith to reestablish the authority of the Church." The webpage from history.com also says, "Education was of utmost importance to the Jesuits." Now you see why Pope Francis is putting so much of an emphasis on educating the people of the world, especially the youth, about climate change. The Jesuits know that you can train people to think how you want them to through education. That's why they set up schools around the world. For example, there are currently 27 Jesuit colleges and universities in the United States alone. And when Pope Francis wants to start educating people, especially the youth, about climate change, what textbook do you think he's going to use? No doubt he's going to use Laudato Si, his encyclical about climate change. Let's roll the next clip.
Un villaggio universale ma un villaggio anche personale di ognuno.
A universal village. Did you know that the word Catholic actually means universal? A Catholic village? A Catholic world? Is that the Pope's aim?
Dobbiamo fondare i processi educativi sulla consapevolezza che tutto nel mondo è intimamente connesso ed è necessario trovare altri modi di intendere l'economia, la politica, la crescita e il progresso.
Here the Pope mentions new ways of envisioning the economy. Now, it's no secret that Pope Francis is a critic of capitalism, and he has even called for a new economic order to spread the wealth and help the poor. In an online post by Reuters entitled "Pope Calls for New Economic Order, Criticizes Capitalism," it states, Pope Francis on Thursday urged the downtrodden to change the world economic order, denouncing a new colonialism by agencies that impose austerity programs and calling for the poor to have the sacred rights of labor, lodging, and land. This sounds good to the poor and will definitely help Pope Francis gain their favor, and it makes Pope Francis look like a sympathetic religious leader.
Per questo desidero incontrarvi a Roma per promuovere insieme ed attivare questo patto educativo. Insieme a voi faccio appello a tutte le personalità pubbliche che a livello mondiale sono già impegnate nel delicato settore dell'educazione delle nuove generazioni. Ho fiducia che non si tireranno indietro.
Here Pope Francis addresses the common people and tells them to appeal to authoritative public figures. In other words, he wants us to contact our politicians and other people we know with influence and invite them to the Vatican.
Cerchiamo insieme di trovare soluzioni, avviare i processi di trasformazione senza paura. Invito ciascuno di voi ad essere protagonista di questa alleanza. L'appuntamento è per il giorno 14 maggio 2020 a Roma. Vi aspetto e fin d'ora vi saluto e benedico. Grazie.
He's really pushing for this thing. Thank you for your invitation, Pope Francis, but this is a cause that I will not be participating in. Check out the Kingdoms in Time Prophecy movie. This is a 60-minute documentary hosted by Pastor Doug Batchelor, who explores the most striking Bible predictions that have come true, from nations rising and falling to the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Click on the link in the video description to order a copy for yourself on DVD, USB drive, or to stream it online. Pope Francis recently made a video appeal inviting world leaders to sign a compact to combat climate change. In his appeal, he references Laudato Si', his encyclical on climate change. The Pope's encyclical about climate change does offer some good suggestions about treating our planet better, but there's one solution that's fatal and prophetic, the one to mandate Sunday rest and worship by law. Bible prophecy warns us that false worship will be mandated by law, and those who accept it will receive the mark of the beast. Everybody will be polarized into two groups, those who receive the mark of the beast and those who receive the seal of God. Those who will join Pope Francis in his agenda to combat climate change will end up receiving the mark of the beast. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and share it. Click on the screen to check out some more of my videos. I have a lot of good Christian videos, which I'm sure you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.